Now this is why I play this. Is this fun? Very. Do I recommend this?
Oh, hell no!
Why? Welcome to our favorite section of breakdowns. So this is the combo. We shoot our balls and we pop the balls to just do a small AoE around you, and it's officially called the Ball Buster combo or BBC, but I like to call it busting a nut, okay? Or nut. So how do we improve this nut? Well, firstly and most importantly, size. I'm sorry guys, size does matter in this context, and we want big AoEs. Like big. Nope, even bigger. Even bigger. Although it might look small, it's bigger than it looks, okay? Trust me. Please give me a chance. Next, we need to increase the number of nut. How? We take scatter shot and unleash, which means we can bust 9 nut at the same time. So we're not a little one-shot Sigma boy anymore, okay? Alright, enough dopamine. Let's get back to reality. This build does not work in endgame like for casual gamers. And anything juiced is just hard. Why? Visualize nut build to just an F1 car. We have 4 parts to this. The body, which is your health and shield. The wheels, which is the lightning balls. The engine, which is the lightning warp. And lastly, the handsome driver himself. But here's the sad part. The body is made of aluminium, the wheels is just worn out and punctured, the engine is just from some second-hand Toyota in a scrapyard, and the driver is just missing some chromosomes. Alright, let's break down why I use these visuals. The body. You are a mage, and anything late game will just two-shot your squishy ass. Remember, you are going close range to anything that does not die in one combo. Not to mention the shit tons of random AoEs that are just barely visible. Alright, moving on. Wheels or ball lightning. They are the core of this build, and man, they suck major ass. Firstly, numbers. They do almost zero damage. They have lower damage than Contagion. Secondly, although they are called projectiles, they are not projectiles, but rather just moving orb of storms. And the only thing they can even relate to projectiles is they can increase in projectile numbers and projectile speed. But anything complicated like forking, chaining, skill duration. So start from here. It will go somewhere through here. And if we apply that 40%, you see that? Nope. They are just a shittier portable version of Orb of Storms, and not to mention, it pops like a bubble the moment it touches anything. Did I mention this is the core of the build? Look at this. You need to consider the terrain as well. If not, the lightning balls will be just eaten up pretty much. If in mid-fight, you just cast it accidentally into a wall, or the game just doesn't want you to aim that way, you are just dead. That's the fucking breach on Elder. You see that shit? The fuck? Bruh. Moving on to the engine, or lightning warp. The size of lightning warp is pretty limited to how big it is from like the skill tree and the gems, but I would say it's big enough to cover the whole screen. But the worst part about this skill is how mana hungry it is. If you don't invest in a jewel with 2% mana on kill, which is about 1 divine, you will just be stuck in the middle of the mob with nothing to protect you. And last but not least, The man himself. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. I made the Chaos DOT mage build. To be honest, this build is very good for just clearing early campaign and early maps below tier like 12, but anything higher than that is gonna be a lot harder as you'll be going into danger zones to DPS, and it's so punishing, especially on maps with just one life mechanic. And I lost like countless good buff and waystones because I didn't notice the tiny landmines that I teleported myself into. Am I going to be the one that always builds shitty builds? Am I always gonna be a fucking loser and failure, man? Alright, let's dive deeper. I know there must be something useful. And I'm not gonna give up without a fight, okay? I am not. Yeah, you know what? I give up actually. If you watched through here, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed my suffering. If you like, do all the good stuff, and I'll see you guys next time, alright? Peace out. Why is the video still going? Why is the video still going? Oh no! Oh, yes. You thought I gave up, didn't you? I'm not gonna be known as some failure that builds shitty builds, okay? So I dived deeper, losing like hours of my sleep. But I found it. The 3 Dragon Solid Helmet. This turns shock to freeze, but we can still apply shock from the shock round from Lightning Orb. And if we use Brotherhood Ring, which can turn cold damage to lightning, we can fully invest into lightning damage while still being able to use Frost Wall and Comets. So stuff like this can happen. Additionally, freeze is just so much better. Why? Freeze equals no death effects, and cast on shock seems to have like a cooldown period before you can reapply shock on the same target, which just makes cast on freeze so much better. So here's the build. You need Everlasting Gaze, Solid Mask, and 60 Spirit from body armor, and 1 recovered 2% mana on kill to just maintain cast on freeze comments, because you are gonna be doing that a lot. And the rest, you just stack your mana for Archmage and just cap your resistances. The damage from mob clears will be mostly coming from cast on freeze comments and lightning conducts for boss fights. Yeah, I'm gonna stop you here. Hi, it's me from 2 weeks after trying the new build. Let me introduce you to a new section called Reality Checks, okay? So, does this build work? It does work until it just stopped working and like juiced tier 15 maps and just endgame boss fights. No, fuck. As you need to be super stacked to be able to just one-shot bosses like in those YouTube videos. Now, what do I mean by super stacked? You need Ingenuity Belt and Lightning Rod. Now, how much do they cost? Ingenuity Belt alone will cost around 25 divines, and Lightning Rod costs about 12 divines, since you need Suffering and 2 Isolation. These 2 items alone gatekeep so much potential, and is mandatory for just one-shotting bosses, where it turns one-shot builds to just a struggle fest, where I'm like playing Dark Souls again, and have to actually learn the boss mechanics unlike all those videos. And you know what's the worst part? Unlike Spark, we have to teleport into melee range. And if there's any mod with like stun built up or freeze built up, or even any cast speed or movement speed, or even any barely visible landmines, while you're just in the middle of a light show, can just easily kill you. As a last fuck you from like bosses and game devs, unless you're able to get some good shields with 60 spirit, which like costs additional like 5 divines. Although like I'm optimistic about this build, it's not a great build since you have to invest so much and you are also a mage. So going close range is just not ideal, as you can get one-shotted or just stun-locked. And the wheels, as mentioned, the balls are just too unstable, not functioning like a projectile, and it just pops like a balloon the moment it touches any terrain. And lastly, you're also limited to how big the AoE of Lightning Warp is. And when compared to the safer Spark, it's just not worth the investment. But in the end, was it fun? Yes, it was. Throughout the whole campaign. Will I continue to use this build? Yeah, I'm sorry, no. I'm just sick of losing hours and hours of experience to just stun locks and just random fuck yous from like bosses and game devs. Breathe on, Elder. You see that shit? The fuck? Bruh. Do I recommend this? No. Because physically, this build crashed the game several times when I'm running this build. But maybe my 3070 Ti was just too trash. Alright, that's that from me, and I'll see you guys next time, alright? Peace out.